What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including a WWE and Tessa Blanchard update. Vince McMahon is not taking the coronavirus pandemic seriously. Is NXT UK getting cancelled? A Hall of Fame update, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into the news. Our first story looks at SummerSlam and a Hall of Fame update. And with the rumors flying around that WWE intends to run events with fans present by the end of July, there are new reports about the status for this year's SummerSlam and Hall of Fame events. Wrestling News' Paul Davis had this to say: WWE still hopes to do SummerSlam with fans in Boston, Massachusetts. I asked around about the Hall of Fame and was told that the date is still to be determined, but this is still very possible that the Hall of Fame ceremony will take place during SummerSlam weekend. If accurate, this will be the WWE's first pay-per-view event with fans since Elimination Chamber. According to Davis, everything will depend on how things play out with the travel restrictions and rules put in place by the governor, but as of now, SummerSlam is not cancelled, and people in the company are hopeful that they won't have to move the show to the Performance Center. Speaking of the WWE running shows with fans, Davis noted, WWE is expected to announce this week that they will be welcoming fans to Raw and SmackDown tapings scheduled for July 24th and 27th in a mid-sized arena with social distancing measures put in place. Considering the number of COVID cases reportedly affecting the WWE, this sounds like a disaster waiting to happen. Next up, Vince McMahon is not taking the coronavirus pandemic seriously. Now, even though the figures have stated that since December 2019, over 10 million people have contracted COVID-19, 500,000 people have lost their lives, and WWE is in the midst of an outbreak of COVID in the Performance Center, Vince isn't taking it seriously enough. In fact, Brian Alvarez recently discussed on the Wrestling Observer Radio what Vince really thinks of the pandemic, and he thinks it's just a bad flu. Alvarez mentioned, Vince McMahon has never said anything publicly about what he thinks about coronavirus. He's never said anything publicly, but I've heard from multiple sources that Vince does not think that this is all that bad, and I hesitate to even say that. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying that he outright thinks it's a hoax or whatever, but you know, there's a lot of people in this country that still believe at worst it's a bad flu, and the impression that I have been given from people within the company is that is Vince's mindset. Sean Ross Sapp at Fightful.com also noted that WWE Executive Vice President Kevin Dunn also thinks that the pandemic isn't a big deal. I don't know, is Vince McMahon right? Are the figures just overblown? Doesn't he realize there's a difference between superstars contracting the virus and more vulnerable people with poorer health like Ric Flair wouldn't just experience a bad flu? It'd be something more serious than that. But let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Next up, a WWE and Tessa Blanchard update. Now, if you managed to tune into our news video yesterday, you would know that WWE is sending feelers out to the recently fired Impact star Tessa Blanchard. Now, there wasn't much information, but TalkSport's Alex McCarthy has tweeted, Tessa Blanchard likely landing spot in WWE at this point. Still early, but there's only obvious interest from WWE right now, I'm told. Now, Blanchard would bring a lot to the ring, but she also brings a reputation for being a problem backstage and past accusations of racism and bullying other wrestlers. Wasn't it just reported that WWE were trying to get rid of problematic people? Now they seem to be bringing one in. Speaking of Tessa, while she was advertised to defend the Impact World Heavyweight Championship at the promotion's big Slammiversary pay-per-view, Dave Meltzer is claiming Impact knew she wouldn't be there. Meltzer discussed the situation during a recent Wrestling Observer Radio, stating, the whole Tessa Blanchard and Impact thing, it's all about COVID. It's like nobody's fault, it's not Impact's fault, other than they did advertise her for a match after her contract was up and kinda knowing she wasn't gonna come because she made it clear that she's not coming during COVID, and there was a fear that if she went, that she couldn't get back to Mexico where she lives and where her boyfriend lives. Meltzer questioned why Impact would advertise Blanchard for the show if they knew that she wasn't going to perform. They knew. I don't know where she did anything wrong on this one. Maybe there's some details that I don't know, but the company probably shouldn't have advertised her unless she gave them the okay that she was coming, and I don't know that's the case. Her contract was going to be up anyway. One of the biggest acts of bad faith a promoter can make is advertising that talent will perform at a show when they know that they won't. While there are occasional storyline exceptions, there doesn't seem to be any excuse for Impact billing Blanchard on the card when she wasn't even under contract for it. Next up, Extreme Rules the Horror Show. Is it getting an extreme makeover? The WWE's current crisis dealing with the coronavirus is reportedly causing some changes to the upcoming Extreme Rules pay-per-view. According to Ringside News, WWE's Extreme Rules card will not be 100% presented as originally intended. The company needs to figure out a new Extreme Rules lineup. It's not clear which matches will need to be changed. As of this writing, there are only 4 matches confirmed for the event. It was explained to us that they're looking things over and the situation will hopefully be figured out sometime this week. Everything is in flux at the moment. While rumor has it that up to 30 individuals may be infected, the WWE's refusal to allow individuals to make their diagnosis public obviously restricts the public's information as to who is currently out of action when it comes to performers. While rumors have been flying that at least one top star is infected, at this point your guess is as likely as good as anyone else's. In the meantime, consider this piece of information from Ringside News. A tenured source in the company gave us a quote that should illustrate the current frustration going on within WWE. It's hard for anyone outside here to understand how f***ed up everything is and how fast things got f***ed up. Considering how the WWE seems to have mishandled the health crisis and its workers' safety, it seems that a lawsuit, either from talent or WWE shareholders, is inevitable. Next up, a big Vito blasts the WWE's virus policy. The WWE's haphazard handling of the ongoing health crisis has not gone unnoticed, with former WWE performer Big Vito joining the list of critics. Big Vito blasted the WWE's handling of things, posting on Facebook, "My response to WWE telling talent not to report COVID-19, it's a HIPAA violation, they say. How can they call HIPAA when they call out people for failing the wellness policy and out them for being sent to rehab? Double standard. Is anyone seeing I've been fighting for 5 years, but you all praise and support WWE? Fans, it's part of your fault for accepting this, and when I said we needed a union and a health benefits and structure, I was mocked. Now that talent is facing possible fatal results, possible death with COVID-19, and people who have children at home, wives, parents living with them, they, the WWE, continue to put everyone's life and health in danger, and they don't give a shit." Now this was just an excerpt of his posting. I'll leave it in the description down below. Next up, a clue that Sammy Guevara is returning to AEW. A fan recently tweeted AEW Executive Vice President Cody Rhodes about bringing recently suspended wrestler Sammy Guevara back. Cody replied, "Sammy will return, and he will be a better professional wrestler and a better man when he does." Guevara is an extremely talented performer who has nowhere to go but up if he continues improving as he's done during his time in AEW so far. Even though he's been suspended for those disturbing comments he made against Sasha Banks, we did report on a touching story yesterday of him saving a child's life. Be sure to check that out if you have some time. Next up is NXT UK Getting Cancelled. The recent hashtag speaking out movement accusations against wrestlers in the UK, mixed with a business slowdown caused by the ongoing health crisis, has led to rumours that the WWE might be closing up NXT UK. However, TalkSport's Alex McCarthy tweeted, "I'm told WWE are not looking at cancelling NXT UK in the short-term near future." Pretty emphatically too. The WWE has cancelled NXT UK television tapings with no date mentioned for resuming production. However, they may use this pause as a way to clean house in the promotion if there are any individuals who are facing accusations, and for the WWE to assess whether it can and should run shows in light of the pandemic. Next up, Renee Young has a big announcement coming. Now we're glad to hear that WWE personality Renee Young's recovery from COVID-19 continues to go well, and now Young has fans guessing what her big announcement will reveal. Young tweeted, "Hey all, I'm so happy. I have a big fat announcement for everyone on Wednesday." Now reports have suggested that Renee is not pregnant. That's not the big announcement. So what could it be? Has she quit WWE and joining AEW with her husband Jon Moxley? What do you think it could be? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Mark Henry's 2020 Nation of Domination. While there's been absolutely no evidence that the WWE intends to bring back the Nation of Domination faction, Mark Henry has his idea of who should make up the group. Appearing on the Broken Skull sessions, Henry suggested The New Day, the Street Profits, and Kevin Owens. This would be a pretty impressive faction, and while we're mentioning The New Day, congratulations to the faction on their 6th year together. While we haven't verified the claim, some fans are claiming it's the longest uninterrupted run for a faction. Now that we know that, Vince is probably salivating at the fact of breaking them up. Next up, Bret Hart releases a new web series. It's easy to believe Bret the Hitman Hart has a lot of interesting backstage stories and road stories considering his decades in the business, and now the excellence of execution has released a new series at his website. Hart tweeted, "Hey everyone, my new web series Confessions of the Hitman Season 1 is now available at bretthart.com. $35 Canadian for 35 episodes total, with new episodes uploaded weekly. I talk about aspects of my childhood, career, life after wrestling, and current events. Is there something you'd pay for or watch? Prefer Bret Hart doing something like a podcast? Let us know in the comments down below." And finally, the Hurricane wants a statue. Last but not least, former WWE superstar Shane Helms, aka the Hurricane, is looking for a statue. The WWE's former resident superhero tweeted, "The Confederacy was only around for 5 years and got its ass kicked. I've been the Hurricane for 20 years and I beat The Rock. NC should just put up statues of me." Helms' comments caught his friend Matt Hardy's attention, with Damascus replying, "Can I get some statues too? That would be absolutely wonderful." But there you have it guys, the wildest news stories and rumors in wrestling. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.